All right, guys. So special one today. This is a follow-up interview with Robin. So if you haven't checked out the first interview, it was very special. In this video, we just want to jump in and figure out how he's managed to go from just the 1 million award to the 10 million award and getting the highest award that Linx Digital gives out. And in this conversation, we're basically going to be focusing on the strategies and techniques that he used to scale. So from the previous video, for those of you that haven't been exposed to Robin, if you want to give us a quick, very brief background of your experience with YouTube ads and what's led you to this path so far.
Yeah, so I got into YouTube ads, I think 2 or 3 years ago. Some client asked me like, hey, can you run YouTube ads? I'm like, yeah, I can. Then I tried to figure it all out myself, and it's pretty confusing in the Google Ads Manager. So it was working for like, let's say 2 or 3 months. Then I got to this point where everything stopped working. And then I was following you guys already for a while on YouTube. And then I kind of joined the coaching program. Then I, for the first time, learned the basics of YouTube ads. And that's what got me to the first, was it, million generated for my clients with YouTube ads. And after that, I have been less active in the community, but I have been kind of fine-tuning the creative process. That's also what you guys taught me, or at least explained. And I've been really fine-tuning the creative process so I could scale even further. So it's pretty easy to scale to a couple of hundred a day. When you get to like a couple of thousand a day, things get a bit more complicated. So that's pretty much what I have been working on since the previous interview. And yeah, I got into YouTube just because a client asked. I'm in the niche like coach and consultant, so I help people sell their courses or online programs. Yeah.
Beautiful. Now, I do want to get into a couple of your scaling techniques, but before we talk about the creative and fun stuff, I really want to talk about your setup in terms of your clients and how that's changed from the last time you had this conversation, this interview, to now. So walk me through what your clients look like at 1 million versus what they look at 10 million. Are you working with a lot more clients? Is it the same clients that you scaled up? Is it a combination of the two?
I would say it's a combination of the two. I think when I visited in Warsaw, I talked about like I started raising my prices a little bit. So that helped me attract clients who spend more on ads anyways, because then they can of course afford it. But yeah, generally speaking, what I just did, I got like one or two more clients and I focused on the revenue share model, the profit share model. And that gave me just more flexibility and also more budget to really improve the creative process. So I would say the biggest thing that I started doing is there's two things. First of all, the creative process that we talked about, and then the second thing is also that I started focusing on improving the current funnel with like some split testing and doing those things. I don't know if that answers your question, but so that's kind of what changed for me. I could scale up my clients because I had more budget to actually make the changes that they needed, and then I also got more clients and just charged more, so I attracted clients that already spent more money or make more money.
Okay. So that's a couple of interesting things that I really want to dive into, because you said you started doing performance deals. Have you found that doing performance deals gives you more autonomy when it comes to more freedom and flexibility in terms of changing funnels, changing the offers, landing pages, things like that outside of, say, YouTube ads?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it depends on the client, of course. It's just that they trust you more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like, okay, if it doesn't work, it's also gonna negatively impact him. So yeah, and yeah, they do. But I also screen for that, of course, because I know if I do a performance deal, that it's probably also going to be about the funnel, right? So if they aren't okay with that, then it's probably not going to work. Or then I just have a different percentage, I guess. So if they want to do the funnel, and the percentage is, of course, most time a bit higher. But yeah, the biggest thing is just that it's more like you have a more holistic view and you change multiple levers, because sometimes it is just as simple as changing the call to action underneath a VSL or something, right? And if that already doubles the revenue, like that makes more sense than 100 YouTube ads.
Yeah, no, a lot of times, even what we find, it's not the YouTube ads per se that are holding people back from really scaling. In a lot of cases, it is these small tweaks that you can make within the offer, within the funnel. And I think that's one of the things people will struggle with quite a bit, right? They will split test thousands of ads, thousands of audiences, where instead of having like 1 hour long VSLs and webinars, maybe if they went down to, say, 20 minutes, they'll find that stuff converts 3 times better. And no matter what you do with your ads or targeting, you'll never be able to get those results.
Sorry about the interruption, but if you're someone that already has a funnel and you know you want to scale it. We're talking about 1K a day, a couple of hundred a day, and you want to take it to 10K a day, then click on our link. What can you expect if you click on a link? You're going to talk to one of our consultants and we're going to see what makes sense for you. If you're someone that is a do-it-yourselfer and you want to learn a system, get on our weekly calls, learn how we come up with creatives, angles, how we do our targeting, how we scale, how we get clients to spending 30, 40K a day. Hey, you want to give that information to your media buyer? Feel free and ask about our course. But that's not going to happen unless you click on the link. So make sure you do that. It's totally free. But this is if you're willing to scale and you already know that you have stuff that works. Now, back to the video at hand.
So can you talk to maybe one or two of those big changes that you've seen throughout your clients? Like, what are the things that you're seeing repeatedly that clients are making a mistake, not inside of YouTube ads, but like the things that surround it that have made the biggest impact in performance and overall results?
I mean, it's funny that you mentioned it, VSL, because I have one client, he sells how to start your own agency, and he had always like a VSL of 20 minutes. And I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but there's this new like 10 minutes VSL, people talking about it. So we did the 10-minute VSL and we literally are booking twice as much calls for the same budget. And the closing rate stayed exactly the same, right? Because twice as much people watch until the call to action. And now we book twice as much calls. So yeah, I have had the same experience with a VSL, for example. The second thing is, for example, the application, right? Like nowadays, I always use some kind of question in the application to disqualify people financially, right? So it's always something like, whatever, can you invest? Yes, I can, or maybe I have my money in crypto and stocks, or no. Or sometimes we just even mention the price of the course, depending on the traffic, like, hey, the course is this amount. Would you be able to invest in that if it makes sense? And then what we do is that we don't, everybody who says no, we don't send them to the book call page. And the magic is then that we can optimize for booked calls, and then we only get qualified calls. And that goes from like, if you don't do that, it's like 50% of the calls disqualified. And when you start using the Typeform logic, we get it up to like 80, 90%. So that's another thing where just by tweaking the Typeform and asking the right questions, you can really improve the call quality without necessarily paying more per call. So that's also one of them. Another thing that I started testing, but I only tested on one client, is like no opt-in from the VSL. But this is a bit tricky, right? These VSLs are already proven to work with an email. And then we see, okay, I don't know what you guys are at, but the opt-in rates of YouTube are not the same as they were before. So for some clients in competitive niches where people already gave their email like 20 times, it might make sense to test that. But I feel you have to spend a bit more on ads because it's the cost per like conversion or per next step is more expensive. So that's not something I would recommend beginners. But those are all things where you're testing something, you're literally doing the opposite of the whole market. That can really pay off, and it's still the same ad.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those things, especially in like the niche that you serve. And we have a lot of our clients and even like people in the program that cater to the coaches and consulting space. And what I've found personally, because this space is so intertwined with digital marketing, right? A lot of people are teaching how to start your own agency, how to make money online. The marketing materials around these areas move very, very fast, a lot faster than some of the industries, right? Like if you look at some of the more, I don't want to say basic industries, but like the ones that aren't as digitally adaptive. So things like local businesses, they're still using like Ever Webinar 3-hour stuff or like simple landing pages and forms. And it works, right? Just because the competition isn't there. Whereas I find with coaching and consulting, it's almost like every 6 months or so, there's a new hot thing, right? So we were just talking about how VSLs and opt-ins have gotten shorter. A lot of people are experimenting with no opt-in. A lot of people are doing low ticket offers. Some people are doing, free introductions. They're moving to masterminds. I know like certain coaches and consultants have even stopped selling courses. They're doing more of a cohort based learning. So it's like a, 8-week program. So the things that are moving, they move very fast. And that's one of those things I think you have to be on top of if you are going to have long-term success, right? Especially like with big audiences, like you said, the competitive audiences, like the make money online.
100%.
People have seen everything, right? When you Nowadays, what starts to happen is when somebody lands on a landing page and they see, hey, webinar starting in 15 minutes, it's not authentic. People have gone through like 10, 20 just-in-time webinars where the effectiveness is going down. So any other general trends that you've particularly seen within the coaching and consulting space with ads?
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of mentioned both of them. I think one of them is either really like making everything super easy and being super transparent, right? No opt-in, even be mentioned in the ad like, hey, this is a video, but after you can book a call or you can book a product. So that's one side where you just remove all the friction. And the other one is really like the sales heavy side where they also ask a phone number and they directly call them before they can even watch the VSL and the whole sending text messages and all that stuff. So I think it's kind of like those two things are happening. I also see the low ticket thing, although I have not seen it work as well on YouTube as, for example, Facebook or TikTok. So I'm curious if you guys run a lot of low ticket stuff for YouTube. But yeah, even the low ticket thing is kind of becoming a little bit like everybody knows. It's, you know, sometimes it's just a bad course and then you need to book a call to, you know, get access to the next part of the course and all that stuff, but it still works. It still works. Just for me, the low ticket thing was a bit harder on YouTube, but I don't know how that's for you guys.
So right now, the only client that I can think of that it's worked, I only have one. You are right. It is very difficult to make it work. And even for us, we haven't necessarily built it out a low ticket funnel as of yet, but that is something that we're experimenting with, and we've gotten some decent success so far. So for those of you guys that don't know, we just released a introductory course for TikTok, and that's priced at right now, I think just under $200 or something. And because one, we don't have that much experience with TikTok ads and it's very new, and like I'm sure you've gone through both, they're not as extensive. The YouTube ad course, there's like, you know, thousands of video, huge. Whereas like this one is, you know, a 3-hour masterclass. But what I've noticed is you're right. We're just about breaking even. And that's because we don't have a very thought out back end build yet. So we don't have any sort of upsell courses. The only ones that I see doing well, or the only one that I see doing well, that low ticket course, it's also not traditionally low ticket. It's not like less than $100. It's also $200. And there's extensive back end. So not only is there a high ticket course that comes up after that, there's a mastermind, which is like $30,000 a month or a year, as well as a low ticket membership. So there's like several different products at different price points. And like basically the low ticket front end offer is something that basically you get paid to have a lead magnet. So back in the day when you used to give out free lead magnets, this is just a way of recuperating your costs. So if you look at it through that lens, I think you can make it work.
Oh yeah, no, I believe you can definitely make it work. And of course, like the whole backend is important. I just feel that it has been harder to make low ticket work with YouTube compared, because I don't know if you guys run Facebook ads or not, but on Facebook, low ticket is really still, I mean, not crushing as before iOS, but like doing well. Just on YouTube, it takes more time. It's harder. And the thing, when I saw it work, it was even just like a VSL to sell the low ticket. So not like the standard sales page, but a VSL to sell the low ticket, and then it can work. But that's what I've experienced. So it can still work if YouTube is twice as expensive and the backend works out, right? Then it doesn't matter, of course. So that's the only thing I felt, that selling low ticket is a bit harder on YouTube, but it doesn't mean it's not working. Still, the scale was better on YouTube when you make it work, right?
Of course. Yeah. And no, we haven't experimented with low ticket on other platforms, right? But that's something interesting. I definitely want to give that a go. Speaking of other platforms, I want to quickly ask about what scaling looked like compared to YouTube to, say, Facebook.
I think Facebook and TikTok are a bit similar nowadays, that it's just, you know, you need more creatives, you need to, you know, keep refreshing, coming up with new stuff. And that's why I love YouTube, because, you know, we have ads that are running for 2-3 years. And if it doesn't work, or just make some edits in the first 3 to 5 seconds and it's running again. So yeah, no, I'm definitely not a fan of Facebook. I also see in general that the quality is less good. I mean, and then I'm talking about 5 to 6 clients where we all run, because people on Facebook are, you know, just scrolling and they click on ads for fun. So they just convert less well. Unless we started experimenting also with DM ads again, but that was just for the retargeting, and then it's kind of okay-ish. So yeah, I feel Facebook is not what it was before. I came up with Facebook, that was my big thing, and then now it's still YouTube. So and especially with TikTok, you know, like things fatigue pretty fast.
I do want to talk about TikTok, depending on your experience. Now, this is one of those things that when it first came out, I was very excited. I still am very excited. There are certain caveats that I recommend that people take when it comes to TikTok ads. ads. With your experience comparing the same offers that run on YouTube to TikTok, have you found there to be much of a difference from the creative side?
I mean, of course, you have to change the creative from YouTube to TikTok, right? But I feel that the principles, it's just like if you're, most people are not good at video, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, first of all, scripting a video, second of all, having a charismatic influencer or person present it, and then third of all, the whole editing process. So I think that's why most people don't make YouTube work, and kind of the same applies to TikTok. So I think if you're good at YouTube, you can figure out the video creative of TikTok relatively fast. And there you just see the same, it's just even faster than YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's more, like, that's what I saw, trend based.
Exactly.
So,
That's kind of what I was getting at as well. Like I've found that TikTok is a lot more, you need to make it look a lot more like an organic TikTok video. Whereas like with YouTube ads, you can get away with them having not looking like the videos on YouTube, right? A lot of times we see ads that do well that quite frankly don't look like regular YouTube videos, right? Especially now in an area, what I've noticed over the last couple of years is like the production value with YouTube ads has really gone up, right? People have started investing a lot more into it. Their ads look a lot more professional. But even with that, you can still come in with like say selfie style ads, and if your messaging works, you will convert just as well as the high production one. Whereas on TikTok, what I found is like if you take two identical ads but one's trend based versus one not trend, and that's like things like using like the trending music or like whatever, you know, actions or whatever, the trend one will out convert like the regular one by a huge margin. Like it's night and day. So that's one of been like the big thing that I've noticed between the two platforms. But I want to now hear about creative specifically on YouTube and how you've used that lever to scale. So walk me through your strategy with creative pre 1 million, right? So like when you're just low, and how has that changed and how has that helped you scale past that 10 million mark?
Before I really started scaling, and then I just, I did your guys' coaching program. I just learned the technical parts, right? Okay, this is how you're gonna structure everything. This is how you set up everything, and that really like made things more stable and made things work and kind of fixed the issues that I had. And then for scaling, so before I was, writing a couple of ads and then just throwing them out there, just see what works, write some new ads. And I just became more scientific about it. So first of all, for example, if I wrote an ad, like it's like, for example, 3 to 5 hooks with a body with like, for example, entertainment or education part, then a part with testimonials. And then by doing that, you can already switch those out. You have 2 variants again. You multiply that by the amount of hooks you have, right? So with the same amount of effort, you're creating, let's say, 20 ads. So that's the first thing, right? And then I look at which ones are performing well. I try to tweak the scripts. I try to tweak, for example, the middle part, and then I do more of what's working. And I do the same now with editing, right? Like the thing that worked really well for me, for example, was like, you see, everybody is like this, right? Talking head videos, you call them. I got that from someone else. I don't remember. He was like, what if you just don't show a talking head? So he just did the VSL slides where it's like just like a purple or black background with the letters on it. Just the first 15 to 30 seconds. And then a YouTube video that worked well again by just starring the first couple of seconds like that. Or just using, it's really weird, stock footage there, right? Just so it's not like the talking
It's not
head
the same, yeah.
And I just started looking into that, right? I even tried stuff with like, Siri, that I let her say the first 2-3 lines and just being creative the first 5 seconds, right? Because after that they can skip it. And I just started becoming really scientific with that. And then I also used, of course, the same stuff in other niches to see how it worked there. And I just look at it more like really like, scientific. Like, and I keep tweaking new things, always experimenting with new things, because then you really find that killer ad at some point that, then your issue is like, hey, how can we scale up the sales team or the service? So and you only get there by experimenting a lot. At least that's how it works for me.
You said it best, right? Like when you are at a lower spend and you're not scaling, most people's approach to creative is basically spray and pray. But obviously the most effective way to scale with creative is the scientific testing, right? And with YouTube ads, a little bit easier than I would say some of the other platforms, because YouTube ads are rather structured a little bit, like you said. And it's like, you don't have to reinvent the entire ad format. You can just play around with like just the hooks or just the first 30 seconds and even the call to actions, right? You differ it up and you introduce that creativity. Usually like the middle and back ends of ads are all the same. All the marketers are doing the exact same thing, right? in that sense, it makes it a little bit easy. So if you focus your efforts and you're scientific with your messaging, what angles you're trying, and then like how you're changing up the hooks, and then being visually creative. I think that's one of the most underrated parts of YouTube ads. Everyone just thinks like you can do the exact same thing, but you have to have that approach that you did, which is to vary up all of the different like visual side, just so people are, you know, not seeing the same thing over and over and over. If I wanted to ask you, and like, I don't know if you have the exact answer for this, but like on average per client, how many, let's say, new creatives were you testing at a million per month? So for any given client versus what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I think it was just like whatever, 2 to 3 per month. And now I would say that's more like 5 to 10. But just, we talked about the structure before. So how I structure it now, we have a lot more creatives with the same effort, with the same time investment, because we are like, okay, we can do these hooks. Okay, we have this 2 content pieces that we can switch up and we can take one out here. So I would say that the biggest difference is like before we maybe had, let's say 5 ads per month.
Yeah.
And now we have like 20 to 30 per month.
Yeah.
Easily. So it's more like that was also, it's just like preparation, right? Most people don't want to prepare, but if you prepare, it's not that much time. And it was more about like making sure that the editors could edit everything on time and handle it. So yeah, I went from, let's say 5 to 20 to 30.
And that's the real power of being able to put in different combinations with hooks and thing. Yeah, it makes your workflow a little bit better as well. So let's quickly talk about your specific workflow. Like you kind of mentioned, you have editors. Are you still doing all of the scripting yourself, or do you get help in that? Do you have any sort of people that come in and help storyboard concepts, or do you work with the client to meet somewhere in the middle there?
Yeah, so it depends a bit per client and per structure, because I have clients where I don't do any scripting anymore. I just give a bit of feedback. I have clients where I don't even look at the script anymore. When I have a big project, especially when it's a huge performance deal, then most of the time I start doing it myself. It's also sometimes you get a little bit stuck with new creative ideas, and then I will work with a freelance copywriter, ask him or her. So it's really dynamic. This is my next stage, which is maybe less interesting for the viewers, where I'm like, okay, how am I going to scale and structure everything that I'm doing? So it's not just me and randomly me deciding this. So yeah, I have let's say a little team. 80% of the work is done by them, and I still do the most important things. Or also when it doesn't work, most of the time I'm the one who figures it out. Yeah.
Perfect. And I also don't think this is not important. I actually think this is probably the most important thing, because in terms of like scaling YouTube ads, there's only so much you can do, right? Like people know when we've given the information out there. What I would also like to dive into a little bit while we have some time is the growing as a business part, because obviously you've amounted to a level of success and you're in probably like the 1% of people that are able to scale their agencies, and I guess you call it solopreneur / business side of things, right? And you didn't do it by just onboarding a ton of new clients and burning and churning. So talk me through, let's talk about how you were able to convince the first few people, not first few people in initial, but like the first few people after your 1 million mark to sign up for, say, performance models.
Yeah, so it depends a bit. I have kind of 2 categories. So first category is people that just want me to run their ads, and I think that's for people watching. The safest way to do it is you just start like running their ads. Maybe there's like a small performance deal in there, whether it's ad spend or revenue or ROAS. And then after a couple of months, you're like, hey, I think if we do this and this and this, we can really like scale your business, right? And then depending on how much work it is, how experienced you are, you can charge them for that, or you can do it for free and just be like, hey, let's say above 100 or 150K, I get a percentage over that. So that's one way to do it. And the other way is to directly do the performance bonus. And that most of the time takes a few more meetings. But then I also really want to double check like the data, because at that point it's more about like, okay, making sure that you can actually deliver and that you're not going to waste your time. So how do I convince them? I mean, at this point, I just show them some Hyros dashboards from like, hey, we booked 1,000 calls last month. For this guy, it's like, how would your business change if you get 1,000 calls a month? So that's kind of how I convince them. But I think nowadays, especially with people being burned by agencies, they're kind of happy. It's like, okay, this person actually wants to work with me. And what I really do in those calls, I really prepare, right? So I look at all their ads, I already be like, tell them like, hey, if I see these ads, I would test this, this, and this. Sometimes I even get access to their ad account. I'm like, hey, I saw these things, whatever. Like there's always something with like they didn't exclude. For example, like in the US, like they didn't exclude Spanish speaking and then Indian channels and stuff like that, or the baby channels, right? they're like, hey, I would exclude this and this and this. Oh, I see you're not having a separate retargeting campaign. There's always a couple of things, structure and creative wise, that you can already show them. And if they didn't know that yet, you're already like, oh man, this guy knows his stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing. And then most time I also look in the funnel, even if they don't ask me, I'm like, hey, listen, if you don't change this and this and this, if we're going to scale, this will be your bottleneck, and you will stagnate at, let's say, 300K month. So then I'm like, okay, this guy looks even further than just the ads. And then you kind of already show your authority. And most of the time, these things are so obvious that they're like, oh yeah, he's right. I just didn't see it because I was in my business, right? So then you really show your expertise, and then it's way easier to close a deal like that.
Yeah, that is one of the cool things. And I guess one of the positives that's happened over the last few years with people coming to YouTube ads specifically, that I remember like a few years ago, you couldn't go to a client and be like, yo, let me take a look at your ad account. Let me give you an audit, because most people hadn't run YouTube ads before, right?
Yeah.
So now it's good. And if you are somebody that's experienced in the niche, it does become a little bit easier to, figure out where they're falling short and also point out where they're doing well. So, yeah, that's been one of the cool things. So you've told me a lot about your business side, how you've grown that so far. You've told me how you've scaled your ad accounts. I want to ask what's next. So you've already gotten from 1 million to 10 million. How do you go from 10 million to say 30 million? What are your steps and your thinking to kind of reach that next level?
Yeah, just to clarify, this 10 million is not for me. This is for my clients,
Yes.
for the people who are watching it before they kidnap me or something.
Yes.
So, I mean, the next step from 10 to, because I'm like, to be honest, I'm already getting close to 20 now, because, it was since I started joining the coaching program. So it was a part before that we had to exclude, and it's going pretty well. So for now, it's pretty much, I have some deals where I get like 10 to 20% profit, but then I also work on the funnel. So I have 2 new deals that I'm working on. We just talked a little bit off camera before that. You were like, hey, now I'm in Ireland, I can really focus on my business. And I'm doing the same. Like, until the end of 2022, I'm not going to really take on any new clients. I'm just going to focus on building out these funnels. And then I think I will already get close to that. And then from there on, I just have to start doing my own marketing a little bit more. So show myself so that I can, attract even better clients. And also but I don't know if this is recommended for other people. I'm doing some of my own offers. I do some affiliate marketing that's making me decent money. And we're just launching a new offer ourselves, or it's more like partnering up where I'm more going towards 30 to 50%. So for me, it's just like, what you said, you need to stay on top of the trends. That's what I also need, right? If I just advertising and staying on top of trends, and I do the same for funnels, then my clients will not suffer from whatever happens next, what we saw before with iOS, and they will keep growing and people talk about it, and here, and you will get clients from that. So that's the biggest thing. So for the 30 million should kind of happen by itself. So yeah, for me, the biggest thing is that I also want to have 1 or 2 of my own offers. Also because it's, I think, pretty strong when you're in a sales call, and because I can use it as a case study. Mostly, like, whatever, even log in when I'm in the sales call and show them, and from there on out I have to market myself a little bit more with those case studies. So I'm probably start running a little VSL funnel at some point. And what I felt worked pretty well is going to masterminds. Didn't really do that because of everything that happened in the past. I don't want to mention the word and get you money. So those are the next steps for me. It's just focus on this for now, keep growing, market myself a bit better, go to events. And what I'm also really trying to do is look for niches that are up and coming, right? So where it's what we talked about, super easy because nobody's doing anything. Because those are, the time investment is so small compared to the money you can make there. So I'm always looking for like upcoming things. Like before, it was the whole NFT craze. That's over now. So I'm like, okay, what's going to be the next thing right now that I can capitalize on, so that also making money is easy instead of hard.
Yeah, exactly. You want to move away from competition and like the red oceans, as they say. No, I think you're on like a great path. And I would say anything that I've learned over the last couple of years scaling ourselves is, in order for your specific YouTube ads to have more of an impact, you do need to control the things outside of just the YouTube, just the Google Ads manager, right? You need to control the creative, right? And that's why at the agency we've started the studio, right, where we actually do video production and we do make the actual ads for people, because we realize, okay, we can be the best inside the dashboard there, but doesn't matter if the ads suck. And then I guess for us, the next steps is also like controlling a bit of the offer, right, with how you're presenting the product or service. So I think you're on the great path there. Well, Robin, thank you so much for jumping on and you know, giving us all the insights. I wish you all the best. And like you said, I guess 30 million is basically going to happen, that you're going to generate that with YouTube ads. So maybe let's set the bar higher. Let's go to 50.
50 to 100. Yeah. 100, that would be great. If I would get to 100 mil for my clients in 2023, then I think that would be a great year. Yeah.
Fantastic. I think we could do it with the way things are moving in the industry. So would love to have you back for that 100 mil conversation.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right, my man.